What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Chris, the DGen here. Welcome to the DGen Dungeon. Today in Sports Betting 101, we're going to be talking about how to bet the NFL. All right, it is wildcard weekend at the time of the filming of this video, so I'll go over some of the NFL bets, what they look like. These bets will reign true throughout any NFL betting. These bets that I'm making now will not be available. I'm not actually going to place these bets. I just want to show you and kind of walk you through how to place an NFL bet. I'm going to do a series on every single sport, but going to start off with NFL since it is NFL wildcard weekend. All right, so let's flip over to the screen here, and this is going to be FanDuel. All right, it's a sports book that is legal in my state. There are many legal. I'm in Pennsylvania. For those who do not know, yes, I am a Birds fan. It is what it is. So anyway, these are, let me get more centered for you here. This is what FanDuel looks like. All right, so on the left-hand side of the screen over here, you can pick your leagues and stuff. Make sure you are in the sports book up here at the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over the NFL, right? So we have to click on the NFL tab, and down here it's going to show you all of the NFL games that are listed, and they have lines for the games. So as I mentioned, it's Wild Card Weekend. I'm going to pick the San Francisco and the Seahawks game just for right now. But if you haven't seen my other video on Sports Betting 101 and Intro to the Basics, I'll put a card to it in the top right-hand corner. I'll also link it down below in the description. You can go take a look at that. I give a more in-depth description of what all of these bets are, but the spread is basically the team to win by that many points. The money line is the team just to win. The points do not matter. They just have to win, so they have to have more points than the other team. And the total is the combined total between the two teams. All right, so these are typically going to be straight bets. You can parlay them, and if you don't know what a parlay is, again, I'd recommend you to go watch that first video that I made. Again, linked in the description down below, and I can make one quickly for you. But what a parlay is, you're taking two bets and you're combining them together into a single bet. Both pieces of the bet would have to hit in order for the parlay to win. The thing with the parlays is that the odds are typically better. So I will explain this quickly for you, right? So let's say you wanted to take the 49ers minus 9.5. That bet is, the odds on that are minus 110. So what that would mean is you'd have to bet $110 to win 100. All right, and the over is minus 106. So $106 would win you 100. Now, for the parlay, again, both these would have to hit, but it's at plus 214. So a $100 wager here would win you $214. This is why people like parlays. I'm not advocating you to bet parlays. I'm just trying to show you what they look like. All right, so this is the simple bets, though. We're going to get rid of these out of the bet slip, and we're going to come down here to click on view more wagers. All right, so you're going to see a lot here, and I'm going to break it all down for you. So the first tab is going to be the popular bets. All right, so again, these are what you saw on the first screen. These are the anytime touchdown scorers. All right, so there's a whole listing of every player on the team who could potentially score a touchdown. Now, the anytime touchdown scorer prop means that the player would have to either receive, as in catch a pass for a touchdown, or rush the ball in for a touchdown. All right, so do be careful when you're betting this. Do not think that if you take, let's say, a quarterback to score a touchdown, it doesn't mean that they just have to throw a touchdown. That's a separate bet, which I'll show you in a minute. That means they would have to rush the ball in. So, like, for example, Brock Purdy right now is the quarterback of the 49ers. Him to score a touchdown, i.e. catch a touchdown or run the ball in for a touchdown, is a plus 600. That's not him to pass for a touchdown. That is him to run or catch a ball for a touchdown. All right, so that's an anytime touchdown scorer. The first touchdown scorer, these odds are usually pretty juicy, all right, because that is the player to score the very first touchdown of the game. Now, if they kick a field goal before they score a touchdown, that does not matter with these bets, but it's the player to score the first touchdown. If they score a touchdown in the game and it's not the first one, you're going to lose that bet. All right, so the odds are usually higher on these because you're predicting the first player to score a touchdown in the game. Correct score, this is another one where you're going to see very high odds on some of these bets. You're predicting the literal exact score of the game. All right, if your score is not exact, you do not win. So, for example, I'm going to take this top one here. If the 49ers won 10-3, you would win this bet. However, if the 49ers won 13-3, you would lose this bet. All right, so you have to get the exact score. I'd be careful betting these because anything can happen, and I don't want you guys wasting your money on those kind of things. So just be mindful of that. All right, alternate spreads. You can move the line. So the Vegas line on this game is 9.5 points. You can move it to whatever you really want to, up to 35.5 points either way. All right, so that's what these bets are. Accordingly, if the team is minus, that means you're spotting that many points. The team would have to win by that many points. If the team is plus X amount of points, that means they have to either win or lose by less than the amount of points you're giving. So if you took, these lines are very high. I wouldn't advocate betting on any of these things. But let's say, you wanted to take, let's say you wanted the Seahawks at 11.5 points. That means they would have to lose by 11 or less points or win. So if they lost by 5, you'd win that bet. If they lost by 10, you would win that bet. If you took them straight up on the spread that Vegas gave you, you would have lost that bet. All right, so just a quick rundown on what those bets are. You also have alternate total points. It's the same thing as the spread. You can move the points as much as you want. The line for this game is at 42.5. You can move it down as low as 18.5. Again, the odds are atrocious here, so I wouldn't advocate any of this kind of stuff. But you can move the lines to some better betting lines if you want them. So that is what the alternate total points are. To score 2+ touchdowns. So I showed you the anytime touchdown scorer bet. To score 2+ touchdowns means that player is going to score twice in the game. Again, for the quarterbacks, that does not mean they're going to pass the ball. This bet is on a rushing bet or a receiving bet. All right, so that's the player to score 2+ touchdowns. Same thing here, 3+ touchdowns. It's going to be the player to score 3 times, either rushing the ball in the end zone or receiving the ball. You have some other bets here. Both teams to complete their first pass attempt. If they drop the ball on the first pass, you would lose this bet. I don't really dabble in any of these kind of bets, all right? So I'm just showing you them so you can see them, but I'm not really advocating betting on these kind of things. If you want to be a true degenerate, you can, but be smart, all right? Please be smart. Bet smartly. Most passing yards in the game, all right? So this bet here is against the two quarterbacks, who's going to have more passing yards. Pretty self-explanatory. You take a look at the box score after the game. Whoever has the higher number of passing yards, that's who wins that bet. The most receiving yards, same thing. It's going to be the players who have the potential to receive the ball, so the running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and whoever has the most yards in the game would win that bet. Same thing here, rushing. All right, not going to go too far into that one. Player passing touchdown. So here's what I was talking about with the anytime touchdown score, to be careful with the quarterbacks because it doesn't count for throwing the ball. If you want to bet on the player to throw the ball in the end zone, it's these passing touchdowns right here. And the lines are over 1.5 for both quarterbacks. The odds differ. But what this means is if you bet the over, you would need the quarterback to throw 2 or more touchdowns. And this does not account for them running the ball. All right, so if you take them over the passing touchdowns, they have to throw the ball in the end zone. They can't rush the ball in the end zone. Player passing yards, these are the lines Vegas gives you for the over-under on how many yards the quarterback will throw the ball for. You can take the over, you can take the under. It's the same thing as betting like a total. It's just how many yards they're going to throw for. Same thing here with rushing, all right? You're going to see the over-under rushing yards. In order to win this bet, Christian McCaffrey would have to run for 75 or more yards. If you bet the over, if you bet the under, he'd have to run for 74 yards or under. All right, so that's the running backs. Same thing with the receiver core here. It's over under their receiving yards. So how many yards do they catch the ball for? There's alternate lines on FanDuel. You can move them. It's the same thing with the totals. All right, I'm not going to go too far into this, but like you can take them to throw for over 200 yards, and then you can move the line a little bit there. Same thing here with all these alternate yards. You can move the lines. That's one reason why I do like FanDuel, because you can move the line. So like, let's say you don't like the line of Christian McCaffrey to run for 74.5 yards, but you like him to run for, let's say, 60 yards or more. You can take that and put it in with something. There's going to be a lot of different other bets here, like what the first drive is going to result in. So if they're going to punt the ball and you think they're going to punt on the first drive, you can bet them to punt the ball. You can bet on a touchdown. You can bet on a field goal, any other. And there's a lot of special bets here. Guys, I would highly recommend staying away from a lot of these bets here. All right. The first half spread and the first half total, I do like those bets quite often. So that's the spread in the first half. So after the 2 quarters, all right, so after the first and second quarter, that's the spread for that portion of the game. So if you bet San Francisco -5.5 in the first half, that means they'd have to be leading at halftime by 6 or more points. All right, but these things I would stay away from, like the game specials and stuff. They're usually kind of sucker bets. You can hit them, don't get me wrong. You can hit them, but you got to be careful. You can see all these kind of things like each team to score a touchdown and a field goal. That's not a crazy one, but if you come down to some of these other ones here, it's like 6+ total touchdowns and 4+ total field goals, things like that. These ones aren't even that crazy. Here you go with some like 5 touchdowns in each half. Is that going to happen? Probably not, but you can dabble in them if you want. Again, I would be careful with that. And then you can bet on will there be overtime or not. Again, I would stay away from that kind of stuff. So we're going to scroll back up to the top here. One thing with FanDuel that you can do is a same game parlay. So I told you a parlay is more than one bet. You're combining 2 or more bets together. So here you can combine a multitude of bets together and make a parlay. So like let's say, I'm just going to put something together for you real quick just to show you, right? So let's say you want to take the 49ers money line. You want to take Christian McCaffrey to score a touchdown. Let's say you want to take Christian McCaffrey to rush for over 60 yards. The more things you add, the higher the odds will be, all right? The problem is you have to hit all 3 of those bets in order for the bet to actually hit, all right? But here you go with 49ers money line, McCaffrey to score over 60 rushing yards. You have +137, all right? So just an option there. I'm not advocating that bet. I'm just saying there's an option for you there. Touchdown scorer props. Again, I already went over the anytime touchdown scorer. You can also bet first touchdown scorer, which I went over. You can bet the last touchdown scorer. So that is the last person to score a touchdown in the game. And we went over these bets here. You can bet on the drive results. I would stay away from those kind of things. Passing props is the same. We went over a lot. In the popular page is where you're going to find a lot of the bets that you're going to want to make. But, you can see some of these things. You can see, like, how many passing attempts they're going to have. So this doesn't mean completions. This means how many times are they going to attempt to throw the ball. You can bet on the longest pass, how long or how far you think the longest pass is. And then passing completions is how many times are they going to complete a pass to a receiver. So you'll hear a stat like, let's say Geno Smith went 20 for 37 passing, all right? 20 is the amount of completions. 37 is the amount of attempts. And there's a bunch of stuff you can bet on, the alternate passing lines that I went over. And receiving props, basically the same thing. We went over what the yards are, right? The over-under on the yards. You can also bet on how many receptions a player will have. So if you think like George Kittle is going to have more than 3.5 catches, you can bet that. Again, all these players, it's the amount of receptions they're going to have, not the amount of targets. It's the amount of actual times they catch the ball. All right. Again, you can bet on how many, what their longest reception will be. And then again, I told you can move the lines on their receiving yards. So like, for example, George Kittle, you can take him over 25 yards. You can take him over 40 yards, over 50, so on and so forth. Rushing props are going to work the exact same way. Just they have to run the ball, not catch the ball. All right, so when you're betting, and especially be careful on the running backs, all right? Because the running backs, when they run the ball, that's one type of bet. When they catch the ball, that's another type of bet. You can combine them. I'll show you that in a minute. But you can combine those kind of bets. So this is the over-under on yards rushing. And here's what I'm talking about with the combination, all right? So rushing and receiving yards. So you're going to add up the box score for the player's rushing yards and the receiving yards. That's what the over-under is set for there. You can also bet on how many times you think they're going to carry the ball. So that's not how many times they actually get past the line of scrimmage, is how many times is the ball handed off to them. So that's what those bets are. Again, there's alternate bets on there. You can take defensive props if you want, with like tackles and assists, player to record a sack. There's a lot of options you can do there. Kicking props, how many times or how many points they're going to kick for. So a field goal is 3 points, an extra point is a single point. So for Jason Myers to have the over in kicking, it's set at 5.5. That would mean he'd have to kick 2 field goals. He'd have to kick a field goal and 3 extra points. Anything over 5.5 points, so anything 6 or higher, you would win that bet. So the easiest way to get that would be 2 field goals. But Robbie Gould, same thing. He's at 7.5 though, so there you would need 2 field goals and 2 extra points. You could have 1 field goal and 5 extra points. You could have 3 field goals. There's a lot of different combinations there, but they'd have to account for scoring more than 7.5, so 8 points. You can also bet on the halves, right? So I told you I like the first half spread sometimes. So you can bet the money line on the first half. That is the team to win the first half. You can bet on the total. All right, so I told you the over-under for the game was 42.5. You could bet the over 20.5 in the first half. Again, these bets only account for the first quarter and the second quarter. All right. There's a lot of different bets here. You can bet on the team total in the first half, and you can bet on a lot of different things there. Second half, same thing works as the first half, so I'm not going to go over that. You can also go over quarters, so you can bet teams to win a quarter. You can bet the total points for a quarter. With the halftime bets and the quarter bets, they're the same thing as the full game bets. The only difference is that if you're betting on a quarter, it only matters for that quarter. The whole game doesn't have an impact on it. If you're betting for the half, it's only the half. It doesn't matter what happens for the full game. It's only the half that counts. So do keep that in mind. And a lot of these other bets here, again, I told you can bet on the first quarter. You can also bet second quarter, third quarter, all those kind of things. But if I'm honest with you guys, here's where you should be sticking, all right? Especially if you're new to sports betting. All right, you're going to want to be sticking in the popular realm. You can bet on some scorer props. You can bet on some receiving props, some passing props, and some rushing props. That's where I would stay if you are new to sports betting. You'll see a lot of people taking these same game parlays. Just be careful when you do take them, all right, because you are combining bets in order to get better odds. The issue is you need all the legs to hit. So do be careful with those. But best of luck in your betting. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know down in the comments below, or easier, join my Discord. All right, I'll flip over to this screen here. Discord picture is on the side over there. Join the Discord. I'll leave a link to it down below in the description. You can get one-on-one with me in there. We can talk through things. You can send me a bet, and I can give you some analysis on the bet, give you some things to think of. I won't tell you whether you should place it or not. I will tell you, though, if I think it is a good bet. I will tell you if I think the stats back up said bet. All right? And, guys, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial on how to bet in the NFL. Good luck with all of your bets. If you are betting wildcard weekend, best of luck. You know the DGen will be betting on the wildcard games. And if you want to see what DGen is betting on, get in the Discord. All right, I post my plays for free there. Okay, they're free. You just have to join the Discord. So get in the Discord. And if you wouldn't mind dropping a like on the video, subscribing if you're not already subscribed. And guys, I will see you in the next one. Peace.